So next, in negotiation with Josh, we agreed on the title, How to Seamlessly Build AI into Apps. But actually, just for the guys over here, if you are actually wanting to see the slides, I'm going to read most of them, but if you do want to see what's going on, you're welcome to slide over. I'm sure these people here won't mind squeezing up a little bit. So if you do want to move, feel free. Okay, so yeah, in discussion with Josh, as I mentioned, I'm going to be focusing on a bit more of a kind of a hands-on how you can, I'll just dismiss this telephone call, how you can use AI kind of today in your business. So just briefly, Fliplet, for those of you who aren't aware, it's a no-code, low-code app building tool. You just drag and drop your apps. It's pretty straightforward. You can bring code if you want, and it's available for free. You just go to fliplet.com, sign up, and some of what I'm going to show you today is available right now if you want to go and have a play with it. For the bits that aren't available, I'll let you know they're coming very soon. Okay, so why is AI so important? I figured I'd just kick off with something high level initially. So I mean, I don't think since the kind of introduction of the internet have we probably seen something as broad, as powerful, as easy to use, as easy to integrate with, and as cheap as AI. And I think that that's fundamentally why we're doing meetups like this, and why it's taking off, and why, you know, the only game in town at the moment, if you're a VC, is to go and put money into AI. It's the biggest game in town, but it's the biggest fundamental shift of a technology potentially we're going to see in our lifetimes. So how do we use AI at Fliplet? I thought I'd start by telling you a little bit about, and I apologize, I didn't know the screen was going to be this small, so as promised, I'll read these. So why should you use AI, or why should you consider using AI in your business, and why do we consider using AI? So firstly, it's to reduce boring and stressful tasks. Like, AI is really good at giving somebody in your organization or yourself some assistance. The second item is it saves you time, right? I mean, what I'll show you today that AI is able to do took me about 10 minutes to put together, and honestly would save me over half an hour every time I use the tool. So it can save huge amounts of time. It can increase your output without you having to go and hire. And I'll give you some demonstrations about how you could apply that today. It can increase the quality and reduce errors of your work. It enables you, if used well right now, it can give you a really significant competitive advantage. It can enable you to surpass your competitors. And then I guess, you know, one thing that I guess in a way I'm kind of demonstrating here is by using AI and being at the forefront, it gives you an opportunity to become a thought leader, and obviously share your knowledge with other people who hopefully are going to join you and share their knowledge about how to use AI with you in return. So originally I was thinking, should I cover how we use AI internally at Fliplet? But I ultimately decided, due to time, that I would focus very much on talking about how we're using AI to actually support the delivery of our products and services at Fliplet. So as I've mentioned, Fliplet is an app builder. And so what that means is that Fliplet has a number of kind of stages, and I guess my connector's really high quality here by the looks of things. Maybe I'll slide it over a little bit. And so for people who use Fliplet, they need to learn Fliplet. They need to plan an app. They need to create content. They need to design their app. They need to build their app. They need to test their app. They need to potentially run a pilot of the app or technology they're building. They need to launch their app. They need to then promote their app. They need to analyze and review the usage data of their app. And they will then need to hopefully update their app if it's been successful. And then they'll kind of start a big part of that process all over again. I'm sure you guys are probably thinking, holy moly, that's a lot of steps, and I agree. It's way too many steps. And this is why we're starting to think about, and one of the things that I think you might be able to think about, is how you can start taking AI to maybe ease the burden off some parts of what your customers or potentially your staff have to go through to deliver your product and services. One of the ways in which we've determined where we should deploy AI first is to think about 4 key questions. 1, where can it generate more business for us, generate more sales? 2, how can it reduce churn so we don't lose revenue? 3, how can it accelerate the value that our customers are getting from our product? And 4, how can it potentially increase customers to consume more of our technology? How can it help with upgrades? Hopefully that little framework you guys can apply to your own businesses and come up with some interesting ideas. So let's move into the practical part. How at Fliplet are we actually taking AI and applying it to solve some of these problems? So I've got a bit of a 3-step process that we're currently using that I encourage you to steal. First, we test our ideas using ChatGPT. It's the easiest. Everybody in the company can get access to a free plan. What we do is we get on a call, somebody leads, they share their screen, they start writing into ChatGPT what we think we're trying to do, like how to help people launch apps. Hey, ChatGPT, how could we use AI to help people launch apps? And it starts giving us ideas. Some of the ideas aren't very good, some of the ideas are good. We dig into the ones that are good, and then we try to convert the good ideas into kind of a tool. So instead of the customer having to understand, I need help launching an app, what we do instead is we try to say, what's the information that we need to ask somebody to provide AI that will give them a good plan to help them launch an app? Because people have a great quality, they're impatient. And so what it means is that you need to you can almost exploit that impatience by giving them tools that deliver value very quickly. And of course, we all know the opposite, which is humans don't want to hang around for a very long time and do lots of things if you're not going to give me the answer fast enough. So what we do is we then iterate amongst the various people involved, and we start sharing ChatGPT conversations. If you haven't, you can share your conversations out of ChatGPT, and we start pinging them around. We use Slack internally, so that's how we're sharing them. One of the things that has started to work against us at Fliplet is that ChatGPT is too unreliable to actually build tools on top of. You guys might have noticed this. You go in today, you run a prompt, you might have saved the prompt, you get X answer. You go in tomorrow, you run the same prompt, you get a slightly different answer. This starts to create problems because now it's not a reliable tool. So I'm just flagging that with you. Next step, we refine our solution using the OpenAI playground. This gives you a number of other advantages. Firstly, you can specify what's called the system prompt, which tells AI this is exactly how I want you to behave. 2, it enables you to specify in the system prompt the exact output that you want. 3, it allows you to then simulate what the user would be entering in the user prompt. And 4, it allows you to adjust the temperature. Quick show of hands, who's played with the temperature setting in the AI API? Okay, not that many. For the rest of you, if you take one thing, go and investigate this feature. It dramatically changes how useful OpenAI's APIs are, from very creative and flamboyant and unpredictable to really locking it down and saying, I just want you to do what I'm asking you to do. Stop coming up with new ideas, please. So it can be very useful. And then we test and refine these prompts until it's consistent. You can also share things directly out of the playground. Then we shift into now taking that prompt and putting it into tools. So tools like Fliplet, Zapier and Make I think have been demoed at other meetups. This is where you incorporate your prompt, you test it, and then those other platforms enable you to leverage other features such as storing the output of your prompt, enabling it to then trigger push notifications or email notifications, being able to alter the UI at a different user interface rather than just a chat interface. And of course, if you're going to give it to your customers, they might care about a little thing called security, so it enables you to integrate into other tools that maybe have better security than just giving them a chat. So let's assess a few examples with Fliplet. So there were 3 out of kind of that massive orange line of blocks that I showed you earlier that I was going to focus on. We're going to focus on learn, plan, and analyze and review. So I apologize for the people on this side of the room because it's probably not going to be very hard to see. But the good news is I'll just tell you what's going on. So you can just imagine something amazing. Okay, so this kind of doubles as a very quick demo of Fliplet, but I'm not really going to go into too much about it. So if we go into, let's start with the plan, because this is the one that I've found a lot of people getting really excited about. So all I did here was, how many people are involved in building proposals in their business? Show of hands. Who does business proposals? We do. Yep, quite a few people. AI is amazing at taking your business proposal template and accelerating the delivery of them. So what I did here, and literally just 10 minutes work this afternoon, is I built a form. And the form has 5 fields, but only 4 of them I entered. It has the company name, so the company name of my customer. It has described the products and services I'm delivering. It has described the costs, and it has described the terms of the proposal. And then it's got a button called Generate Proposal. And then underneath that, we've got this big kind of text area here, like rich text area, which AI will then take the information and the prompt that I've given it, and it'll generate a proposal. So I am going to quickly see if I can get it to give me the answers that I gave it earlier. Whew, I can, so you guys don't have to watch me type. And I'll just switch this to a view that's slightly easier for people to see. Okay, so what I've got here is I put in the company name, Acme Inc., describe the products and services, design and build a website for a mechanic specializing in Audi, describe the costs, $5,000 excluding tax, domain names and website hosting, describe the terms, 30-day payment, no refunds. Now, just to prove that I'm not making this up, I'm going to clear that out. And while I'm here, I'm just going to quickly tell you guys about the prompt that I wrote. So the prompt that I wrote, it's taking the data from the form that I enter, and the prompt literally says, please generate a professional business proposal using the below JSON data. JSON is the format that we're getting the data from the form. Provide at least 5 paragraphs, so I'm telling it how long I want it to be, because when I didn't do that earlier, it gave me 5 sentences, which is a pretty crappy proposal, I'm sure you'd agree. Include an introduction to the proposal, information about the business making the proposal, so Acme Inc., explain the product and services offered, explain the costs, explain the terms. The output must be in HTML format and only include paragraph tags and heading tags. No other formatting is allowed, and then basically the data is below. So now when I click Generate Proposal, and now I'm back into the same territory Victor is in, where he's hoping the internet works reliably. So now, one of the things that I definitely noticed is the more that you're asking it to generate, the longer it takes. So unfortunately, my 5-paragraph one would have been done, my 5-sentence one would have been done by now, but it's not a very compelling demo. Now, the reality is when we've done this for our business documents at Fliplet, we actually gave it examples of our documents, and then we asked it, hey, take these documents, use them as an example, and then create proposals for me. So we fed it a lot more kind of demos, and it was amazing. So what it's done now is it's generated a business proposal. Introduction. Thank you for considering Acme Inc. for your website design and development needs. I mean, when we've used these types of tools at Fliplet, the team has been shocked because it produces better proposals than their proposals, and they've been doing it for like 3 years. And the other thing that it's also done is taken the amount of time it takes to create a proposal from an hour and a half down to about 20 minutes. So yeah, and of course, this is just an example of using it for business proposals. You could use it for many other things as well. Let me quickly show you another quick demo. So this is a slightly more sophisticated demo. So this is a feature that we have built into Fliplet that allows you to basically compare 2 pieces of data to each other. So in this case, I'm going to compare all of the European countries, and I'm going to compare the agricultural income, the area in square miles, the birth rate, the income tax, the highest bracket and the lowest bracket. Now, this is just a sample data set, right? Let's say that your business had existing data sets on other types. Or maybe your customers are using your software and in turn generating their own data. So here's an example of the data that our system provides, a simple kind of tabular view. But what I put in a couple of weeks ago with this Analyze button, where I basically told AI, and again, I'll just quickly read it to you. It's already finished. I told it to... now I've lost, it's such a small prompt, I can't even find it in the code. But basically what I did is I told it to find the, tell me what are the trends and what are the anomalies in this data set. A couple of other things, but that was basically it. And here it is doing the data analysis for me. So it's telling me the birth rate in Europe countries ranges from 8.25 to 14.45. The lowest income tax rate in European countries ranges from 0 to 0.4. It's actually messing that up. That's meant to be a percentage. And it goes on. And then it says significant anomalies in the data include Switzerland has the lowest birth rate among the listed countries. I didn't know that. And it would have, like, keep in mind how many countries I selected. It's gone and done that analysis in, what, 30 seconds? Now, the reality is you can change that analysis to do any form of analysis you want. So the way in which we're applying it at Fliplet, because nobody really likes looking at the analytics data that their website or their apps are generating, what we're doing is we're building an analyst which will analyze your app's usage data. It'll not only tell you what's the most popular, what's the least popular, it'll also then come up with segmentation for all of your user types, and it'll tell you what you should do to increase the engagement of each of those segments. And this is literally off maybe a 2-paragraph prompt. So this is kind of giving you some ideas, hopefully, about how you can apply it in your business. And then finally, here's a bit of a chat example. This will be a little bit harder for you guys to read. Maybe we can change it to kind of a small mobile phone. Here we go. Yeah, that's a bit easier to read. So what we did is we took a whole stack of information about things our customers regularly ask us about, and then what we did is we just kind of summarized the information about this particular topic, and we shoved it all into an AI system prompt, and we said, your job is to help with this topic. Here's everything we know about it. And if you can't answer it, refer them to our support documentation. So now I can come along and ask it, for example, what is a data source? And what this is doing is it's basically just taking the system prompt, which is a large set of information that we've already given it, and now it's trying to analyze that, and it's come back and it said, a data source is a tabular data set with columns and rows that can be used within your apps within Fliplet. And so it's tailoring not only all the information that it already knows inside the LLM's original database, which we want because it already has an awareness of our business, which we're lucky to have that, but also we're then kind of topping it up with more correlated information, and we're telling it, like, don't get confused. Don't talk about data source in the abstract, only talk about data sources in relation to Fliplet. This chat tool is only in this context. So I think that comes to about 15 minutes. So hopefully that's given you some kind of useful examples that you can take and use. I think that's it. Thank you. Any questions?